Hello, beautiful people. I'm Elizabeth Molina, and today we're doing this a little bit different and every day. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about all the certifications that I have, or how I modeled for most of my life, or how beautiful I am, or all the beautiful things that I do and have accomplished. If you're interested, you can always check my website and see all the certifications that I have put myself throughout life. Many people call me their beauty guru because of my curiosity, knowledge, and passion for the concept of beauty in the modern world. Today, I am your beauty guru. This is definitely the place to be if you're into bio, beauty, and life hacking, and of course, understanding the why for your beauty routine. If that's you, then you are in the right place. Are you ready for today's glow up session?
I am so super excited for today's episode. We are going to be diving into skincare and makeup, but I want to say skincare is going to be our category for today. So we have a very special person. Her name is Indy Lee. If you guys don't know who she is, but I am almost positive that everyone has heard of Indy Lee and Indy Lee Cosmetics. So a little bit about Indy Lee. In 2008, she was diagnosed with a life-threatening brain tumor that doctors felt could be environmentally derived and attributed to something she was putting on her skin. This was her awakening. After surviving a successful surgery, she embarked upon a new journey, Indy Lee Skincare, a clean beauty line dedicated to educating and empowering others to live their life to the fullest. Welcome, Indy Lee.
Thank you, Indy, for being on. Did I miss anything while introducing you?
No, I think you got everything. I'm so excited to dive in.
Let's get to it, Indy. I am so happy to have you on here. It's such an honor, really, like being the pioneer of clean beauty, and just to hear you and your voice today. So my audience is gonna really, truly get a lot of gifts and gems from you today. So let's get in there. We all have a story, right? And let's hear yours. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, it's a wild one. I mean, guess I should first mention that I didn't come from the beauty industry. So for those listeners who say, I want to go into the beauty, and you're like, but I don't come from it, like, you can do it. I'm an accountant. I came from like HBO and Ernst and Young, and left because I wanted to be with my kids. And then in 2008, I started to lose my vision out of my left eye. And I immediately went to the doctor. I knew something was up, and he sent me for an MRI. And 45 minutes after leaving the MRI, he called. And you know the situation. When you get a call from the doctor, you're like, okay, what did it say? And you always expect them to just tell you, and then, okay, you go and do whatever you need. And this time he said, you need to come in. And I said, okay, but tell me what it is. He's like, no, I really think you need to come in first. And I said, okay, keys are in my hand. I'm going to the car, but you need to know what it is. And that's when he said, you have a brain tumor. And I said, I'll see you in 15 minutes. It was the most powerful day of my life. I always say this. Having my children are the highlight of my life. But the most powerful day was November 4th, 2008, when I got that phone call. And I literally grabbed the keys and I got in the car and I didn't call anybody. I just sat with myself. And in that moment, it was a beautiful fall day in New York. So, the leaves are turning, everything is vibrant. And as I'm driving, everything becomes in Technicolor. And I realized for the 37 years leading up to this moment, I'd pretty much been a passenger in my own life and not been an active participant. And I swore that this was happening for a reason. I didn't know what the reason was. But from that moment on, I was going to allow whatever was coming my way, because I knew something powerful was going to come out of this. I didn't know why or what. But more importantly, I was going to live every day with what I call the 3 Ps: purpose, passion, and be fully present. And knock on wood, here I am like 13 years later and still living with those 3 Ps. Got there and he said, this doesn't look like cancer. And it wasn't. But you need to see some heavy hitters. So I went to see specialists up and down the East Coast, and they would say, this doesn't look like cancer. We don't know what this is, but you could have as little as 6 months. My kids were 5 and 8.
That must have been so scary.
I was like, it was so, you know what? while it was scary, I kept thinking there's something bigger here. It's going to be okay. And I wasn't like, oh, it's not happening. I really focused on what I wanted the outcome to be, obviously, which was to live a vibrant life, but I knew. And so it was interesting. When I went to my neuroendocrinologist between the first two specialists, I said, how's this happening? Nobody in my family has anything like this. And that's when he said, we're seeing more and more of these things tied to the environment. And I'm like, environment? I eat out of a greenhouse in my backyard. What are you talking about? And he said, well, that's the environment. So is everything you breathe and you surround yourself with, what do you put on your skin?
Wow.
And boom, in that moment, in that doctor's office, looking at a fake Monet in a fake brass frame, it became into like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. I need to create a line that is safe, that is effective, that looks beautiful on a shelf. But more importantly, I want to educate and empower others to live the healthiest version of their life, whatever that looked like, and to empower them. And it's funny because I was actually like, I have a huge greenhouse in my backyard. I actually made a little line for my nephew prior to this diagnosis that I showed everybody in the at my sister's baby shower. And people were like, this is what you need to do. You need to create a baby line. And I'm like, I don't think so. Clean beauty wasn't really something in 2008. And yet I knew that there was very little regulation, because I had looked into it when I was thinking about what I was going to do with my nephew, and obviously looking at what I was putting on my body. And that's when the light bulb clicked. Like, here I was turning it down. I feel like the universe was trying to send me a sign. Like, you said no to the baby line. This is a bigger mission than that.
Wow.
And when, you're given 6 months, you get to decide how you're going to live. And so I deep dived into clean beauty. But I was very fortunate. I found a doctor who was willing to give me surgery. He gave me a 40% chance of waking up. I said, fantastic, I'm dying. And on April 22nd, which is Earth Day, I walked into the surgical suite and said, today's a great day to live. Put on some kick butt music. And I went to sleep. And many, many hours later, when I woke up, I wasn't able to see from here back when I went into surgery. But when I woke up, I was able to see everything. And doctor came in, took my hand, and said, we got everything. Welcome to the rest of your life. I haven't stopped.
Wow, that is quite a story, Indy. And I think a lot of people don't really know the why behind beauty choices sometimes. And like, just to know that this line that you created, right, has so much meaning and impact, and the message that you're trying to give to the world really says a lot. And like your experience, and I want you to share with us, I know we had a conversation the other day, you described yourself as a color even, and you're like, you wouldn't have known me. And like, like this gives hope to so many people, and I want you to share that voice. And I want people to know that like, you can be like Indy and you have a message, right? So like, do you mind sharing that story? Like, if someone were to say, Indy, I remember you from junior high school, like, tell us a little bit about
that. They
They
probably wouldn't. And I ironically am wearing beige. When I was in junior high school, even when I worked for Ernst & Young and HBO, if I would have been described as a color, it would have been beige or clear. I've had things on Facebook where people have connected and they're like, oh, I don't remember going to school with you. And I'm like, we carpooled. Like, I was really quiet. Nobody, even my parents, could not imagine how I was going to build this brand when I didn't like to speak publicly. I was really more of the background girl. But when you find your passion and you know it's your purpose, nothing derails you. And I knew I needed to do this. And it went so far as, and I wouldn't even discuss this, I wasn't born with the name Mindy Lee. I changed it. I was born Lisa. My name was Lisa. And when I got sick, I blogged under the name Indy Lee, which stood for Independent Lisa. And it was a way to communicate with my family when I was sick, because I didn't want to do, I come from, my mom is Jewish, my dad's Catholic, and my Catholic side wanted to do the rosary beads and the whole thing with me. And then my mom's side wanted to connect me to any Jewish doctor, whether or not they were a brain surgeon or not. It was like, I know a podiatrist. And I'm like, and I just wanted to spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
And so I blogged and I let everybody know what was going on so they could stay in touch with me.
Love that. That's so beautiful. You see, every day we're learning things, and I'm hoping that the listeners right now who are more introvert can feel like there's a space for them. And that
Absolutely. You know what? I think it's about stepping into your space and owning it. And you could be as beige or clear as I am or was. I'm now fuchsia. But create something for yourself because it ignites it in here. Like, I'm like, I live for a reason. And I knew it. And it didn't matter what people said, you weren't going to derail me.
I love that. And people, if you're, I really, really highly recommend you watching the video part of the podcasting, because even though there is audio, I really, like, she is wearing a beige shirt, but she has the most beautiful bright lipstick on. And like, she just, sometimes there are these canvases that are just like plain, and then there's like one focal point. And I think when, even now just wearing, I could see like your personality, your facial expressions. Like, you guys have to see Indy here live, because really it's magical. And like, just going back through all these things, what does your self-care look like today? Now that you have all this knowledge, you are the founder of this amazing clean, skincare line. Tell us what that looks like.
It's so funny. When I first started, I did what I tell everybody not to do, which was like go into my bathroom and take everything and dump it. By the way, in 2008, that made it very hard to then scale up because there wasn't a lot of clean things. And I should note, you and I had this conversation. I'm an 80-20 girl. Like, I am not 100% clean everything. Like, you do you. I just want you to be the most informed person. Like I always say, I know the risk. I make the choice. If Tom Ford has a lipstick that I want, I am buying it and I am wearing it and I am loving it. But my skincare routine now, when I first started, I pared down. So I was like a cleanser, a toner, not even a cleanser, toner, like a cleanser, like a mask and a moisturizer. And now I would say a 4-step routine. I cleanse every morning, every night, thoroughly. Yes. Remove the day. Like, I find people do this where and if you're not watching, like they go like this, they will kind of like wax on, wax off, kind of like Karate Kid. They don't sit there and like kind of massage and make sure they're getting in there and loosening any of your makeup up, so that when you take your toner or your exfoliator and you wipe it on your face, there's nothing left. Like, you knew you removed the day from your face. And I'm not so harsh in the morning. Sometimes it's just a light cleanse, or sometimes it's just my toner to make sure I've removed any excess sebum from the evening. But like at night, I really make sure I'm doing a great job of removing anything, the environment from the day. So I'll cleanse. And then in the morning, I tone every morning. And at night, I might use either a toner or a gentle exfoliator. Like, we have peel pads, so I'll use something like that to make sure that have glycolic to exfoliate. I am 49, and my texture and tone is changing. And so now I want to exfoliate that dead skin cell so that my serums and my moisturizers can do the job. So I'll do that. And then I use my serums. I use like a facial serum and an eye serum. And then I use a moisturizer.
What's your favorite eye serum, Indy?
It's mine.
Which one?
I use our workin eye serum. It's funny. All of our other products were named like brightening cleanser, purifying face wash, and this one's eye workin because it signified my awakening that what you put on your body is just as important as what you put in your body. My awakening that life is to be lived vibrantly every day, and my literal awakening from surgery and opening my eyes. And so we named the eye serum Eye Workin, and so that one addresses depuffing, address some fine line, appearance of fine lines, and some dark circles.
Awesome. And I wanted to ask you that because I know there's like a controversy between eye serums, and I personally love them. And I know you do too. Obviously you created them. So I just want
I mean, we've had clinical tests done on this.
Yeah,
I mean, I am a big proponent. And people, when they see me on this video, I will tell you full disclosure. Yes, I am wearing eye makeup. Yes, I am wearing some blush. Yes, I am wearing some lipstick. No, I'm not wearing foundation.
Oh my God.
Like, what you see is what you get.
I'm
going to be 50.
Get on this. You're kidding me, right?
49 years old. Guys. I'll turn 50 in October.
Shamelessly plugging here. I mean, she's gonna have to give us a code. We're gonna have to pull it out of her at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
But like, guys, her skin looks phenomenal. Like, I thought you had foundation on.
Nope. I mean, you can see look, I have freckles and imperfections, and stuff, but I embrace them. I have fine lines. I'm 49 years old. I've lived through almost dying. I've had things and trauma in my life too, and I have an expressive face, and I embrace it.
Yeah.
It's
Well, guys,
fine.
it's so important to cleanse your face the way you were talking, instead of like that wax on, wax off, like giving it that love, and your intention and energy. And like clearly it shows. I really invite you guys to look at the video and just look at Indy's face. She does not have on any foundation or concealer. It's just the eyeshadow,
Just me with
eyeliner,
some
blush, and a beautiful lip color on there.
and eye makeup, because I do love nice eye makeup.
Yeah, you look very glamorous.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when people think of clean, they think you can't have glamour. And I want to dispel that. If that's what you love, that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice that.
Yeah. Totally. And Indy, now that we know your why for beauty, right? Like you gave us your story, I'm so grateful that you're sharing that with me and the audience. I feel like there's so much value just in hearing that, like just so powerful. Can you tell us what you learned about yourself? Like what would you say that you learned about yourself in the process of rebirthing yourself? Really, quite literally.
I think that when you realize that you have a passion for something and you want to make that your purpose, like you can go after it. And if you know in your heart and in your gut that this is what it is meant for, that you can do anything. I mean, I had zero money to start this. I had like no experience, and yet I knew. And I want people to take away, like, it was a belief in myself that this is what I was meant to do and that I was capable of doing it. I mean, listen, there were a lot of people, including family members, who were like, what are you doing? It was 2008. The economy was not great. And I realized I can do it and I can step into this power and I do have a voice. I think that's probably, I got to tell you, Elizabeth, that is what it is. I never realized it till this moment. I have a voice and it can count.
And we're hearing you.
So thank you. I just learned that right now with you.
I love hearing that. And you do have a voice, Indy. Like we've had conversations and you have such a powerful voice and such a story to share, just beyond the beauty and the cosmetics. And there's just so much more to you. And I want people to know that. And I also, obviously this is a beauty podcast, right? But there's more sides to beauty. And I want people to know that, like, even when, buying something, like I resonate with your brand, obviously you as a person personally, but when there's somebody behind the brand and there's a reasoning why, like how did this happen? Like, yes, the beauty business is $1 trillion industry. Let's not like beat around the bush. It's a very profitable business, like it's huge, and it's never going away ever, because like it's like one of the oldest things. People are always trying to improve. And so like when there's a person behind the brand who's not like, I'm making this brand for profit, like there is a why for you doing this.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, this wasn't
yeah.
No, this was my why. This was about empowerment. And for me, I mean, you and I've had this conversation. There's so much more than just the brand. That's why I do Mindful Mondays and I talk about mindfulness. To me, this isn't just about what you're putting on your skin. This is about mind, body, and soul. And as I grow into the brand and I grow as an individual, I'm realizing it's so much more. I always thought of it as a lifestyle brand and not just about skincare.
Just to segue into that, what does a day in the life of Indy Lee look like? Tell us more.
What I love about my life now is that it changes every day, right? It's never the same. Some parts of it is. And every morning, first thing when I wake up, I meditate. I'm a practicing Buddhist, so I do chant. I fell off the wagon for a while, but I'm back on it. I really have to be my practice. And the other thing I do, I send one text to my best friend, and she sends it. We send it. It's a fight to see who sends it first, so we know who wakes up earlier. And it says GMS, which is Good Morning Sunshine. Every day for the past 13 plus years, we have sent a text back and forth wherever we are in the world, GMS, Good Morning Sunshine. And it started when I got sick, and my best friend was there with me through the entire thing, and she's been with me every day since. But that's how I start my day. So that's a non-negotiable. And then you know what? It's like everybody. You go through your email, you see what your agenda is. I have kids. I have one in college. I have a 7-year-old who's going through the college acceptance process now. I have a 9.5-year-old goddaughter who lives with me since she was 6 months. So it's like the school and all that ritual of being a mom. And I also have another side to my life, which is my work family. I mean, my team is my family. So it's obviously meeting their expectations and meeting their needs, being on social media and showing up. So I'm very active on social. And then my evening routine is very much similar, and the self-care routine is very important to me. And it's not just about in the lotus pose, oming. It is about taking time for myself, talk to my parents, reach out to a family member, a friend, etc. That's all self-care to me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. So now you guys know some of Indy's daily practices are texting her best friend. I love that. Like, you seem to be doing well. I keep on hearing you just like building relationships, always checking in on people, which is so special. I think even today now, especially during the pandemic situation that we've been experiencing for almost a year, I think we've lost connection even more, and like it's so easy to connect, and it's all yet so hard. And I love that you are like, that's a non-negotiable for me. I will connect, I will build my community, I will stay in touch, I will send that text, I will call and that's beautiful. You setting an example and just showing up to the world and to the people in your community, just saying, hey, I see you, I care about you. I think that's so beautiful.
People want to be seen and people want to be heard. People want to be of service. My mission is to be of service. This isn't about, no one starts a line with no makeup, no money. I literally emptied my 401k, credit card debt, still paying off up the wazoo, emptied the 401k. It wasn't about becoming this wealthy person. It was about creating change and being of service.
So talking about the starting a line with no money, can you tell us some of the first things you did to start this empire that you've started? And you are forefathers or foremothers of, of the clean beauty, right? So like, tell us, like, tell our audience.
Like, it seems in some ways like yesterday, and in other ways it was like, oh my God, that was like a million years ago. Okay, so people are going to laugh because I'm such an accountant. First thing I did was set up my books. I literally did set up like my chart of accounts. I'm such a nerd. But listen, I embrace that nerdy part of mine. What I needed, like, okay, what are the products that I want? How am I going to make them? Doing a lot of research on what needed to be happening on labels, being aghast of what you don't need, just really deep diving into that, and also creating a website, because it'd be great if I had products, but if I didn't have a way to get them out there, that was some of the first things. It was having a couple of key products. So before I even woke up from surgery, I already had some products done.
Wow.
Like done, ready to go. And then I turned on the website like 2 months later. But I had the website ready. Like, I wanted to have I'm like one of those people, it's called mise en place if you cook. By the way, I don't, but I know that term. I had to have everything kind of ready. So I was organized to go. And then, of course, I thought once you turned on the light switch of your website, you were going to be flooded with orders. My aunt ordered, my mom, like, it didn't happen like that. Then I learned that you really need to have marketing and what that meant. I had no experience in it. And that's when I realized the most important thing someone as a budding entrepreneur can do is know what you know and know what you don't know, and surround yourself with people who are the brightest that you know in that field. And I was very lucky because I was introduced to a number of people who are still with me today. One of them is my business partner, and she was great at marketing, great at sales. And then I found someone who's an incredible designer. And by the way, my best friend who I GMS, she now is like manages our warehouse operations. So like surround yourself. She was also there mixing with me in the kitchen in the beginning too. Like, she's been there since day one when I walked out of the doctor and I said, I know what I'm doing. I know what my purpose is.
Indy, I love that you said that, know what you know and know what you don't know. I think that's such valuable advice. Obviously, the accountant thing is like, also, I wanted to say, take value in that, because a lot of times we get lost in like building a business and like, oh, I'm gonna get this app and this website, it's $5.99, $9.99, $20.99, and you're like, oh, small fees, but they add up very quickly. I wish I like knew that earlier.
But don't tell my mother, but my accounting degree did help.
Well, I hope she hears this. Indy's mom, say something to her. You're welcome. So I think that's really great advice. Like, know what you know and know what you don't know, and surround yourself with the right people. I think that people listening right now could evaluate that and just apply that to their lives. And wow, like that is a lot of value. Thank you for giving that to us.
Yeah, I think we feel like it's a weakness to ask for help. And I always say one of my strengths is my ability to ask for help. I can't possibly know everything. None of us can be perfect at everything. That's impossible. So tap into that. That's how you build a beautiful community.
Indy, can you share with us something that we don't know about you yet?
This was a hard one. And so I decided that I was going to use this as an opportunity to create an intention, right? And putting it out there, because it's something that I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe. But I'm going to say it now. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I have plans to write a book. So you heard it here. It's going to happen. So what people don't know is I am going to write a book.
Yay! Yes! I hope to see it soon, Indy. I'm so proud of you for like putting that out there, and now you have to do it because the pressure.
I have to do it. I declared it. By the way, that doesn't mean tomorrow, but my team's like, oh my God. But I just feel like there are a lot of stories that we have to tell, and there are a lot of different chapters.
I want to hear the secrets of Indy Lee, or like I'm like making titles up in my head already.
Oh, good, because I'm going to need some help, my friend. And this is me asking for help.
I got you. We will brainstorm. Okay, awesome. So Indy, you know that I am passionate about beauty in a holistic way. I feel like we spoke about this a little bit in terms of beauty not just being what you put on your face, or like self-care isn't like, okay, mani-pedi and a mask. Like, there's so many components to it, and I think now the world is ready to start receiving that self-care looks like it's a whole lot of things. And so I created
it's a holistic
something called
360 approach.
Yeah, holistic for sure. So I created the beauty circle, and I always ask my guests, like, what are you excelling in the beauty circle? How are you accomplishing that? And then what are you not excelling in? And like, let's talk about that, because I want people to hear what your strengths are in the circle. And it's 10 categories, and you guys feel free to download it. It's a free beauty circle tool. You can check it out on the website. It'll be in the show notes as well. But I want to know, and then we want to know what you're struggling with, because people will feel better when they know that, like, you know, a person like you or I are just like them, and we struggle in the same categories. And so, like, let's hear it, Indy. Come on.
Okay, so this, by the way, I highly recommend everybody to download this. Like, I am sharing this with my team because this is a fantastic tool. It really is a beautiful tool. And it was really surprising in some ways. My excelling is my spirituality and my relationships. Like, that's where I think I thrive, in building relationships. Obviously, for me, it is way past just beauty. It is in terms of community, etc. And I would say one of the things that I've let fly this year more than any is that freak fly woo-woo side of me, letting people really in on it and knowing that that is part of me. But I'm very grounded. So I'd say the spirituality and the relationships, which I do believe touches on joy. Right. Oh, and I definitely excel at my skincare for sure.
That's not even something that we question.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that. I'm like, duh.
Right.
Where I absolutely fall off is my water intake. I don't even want to tell you how. Okay, it's about noon here, almost noon, and I have not had a glass of water yet.
What? I need to start texting you. Indy water.
I know. Oh my gosh. And this was such a problem when I was pregnant too. Like, I am the worst. I usually start my day with a warm glass of water, but today I didn't. Like, So, but listen, I'm being honest. I'm not perfect. So my water intake is definitely a bad. Like I gotta work on that. Which I'm sure is in no shocker about my bowels being always a mess. So things people didn't expect Indy to share, but it's in the beauty wheel. I have to be honest. That is definitely not an area that I excel. So now people know. And it's so funny. Friends of mine always say, like, when I'm over their house and I'm from there for a while before the pandemic, they're like, you never pee. I'm like, I don't drink enough fluids, people. And movement. I'm one of those people who I love to read. I love to research. I love what I do. I love community. I'm now becoming addicted to the Clubhouse app, as you know. But what I don't make a lot of time for is my exercise. So I think those all it's very interesting to see that those all play hand in hand. But what's fascinating is because someone who understands skin health, you can see my skin. So I think I would not recommend that because I know most people who have that, it does play out in their skin. But I think it's because I eat consciously. I do prioritize my sleep. I do prioritize my spiritual health and wealth, as I like to call it. I think and I use good, clean products, skin and makeup products. I think that's why. But man, I got some work to do.
Thank you for sharing. I love that you analyze and that's what I wanted people to visually see. Like you can actually, like if you fill it in, you can see like, oh, my beauty's at number 10 and like my water's maybe at 2, and that's related to the movement and to the bowels and et cetera, et cetera. So like you see that it's all working together. And usually, yes, we were talking about this earlier, how if you don't have enough water intake and that affects your bowel, usually that's also related to movement and it shows up on your face. However, because you excel in skincare and in meditation and relationships, I think there's like a balancing there, a big balance. And I've seen patterns with my clients when they fill this out. I usually have them fill one out every month, the beginning of the month, and I have them plaster it on their calendar, like if they have a physical one, or in their room. They can set goals just visually looking at it and say, oh, I need to work on my water this month, or my relationships, like you said, texting your friend. So like that's how I use the tool. Like just every month fill it out, and if you want, like you can have another one that you fill out with what you want it to look like, so that you can compare. And like it's just very visual. Like you train your brain to kind of start like flipping the script unconsciously. Yep. It's such a weird and like interesting thing that I found with my clients. So like I stress the circle so much because we're so visual. And even coloring if you color it in, it's very therapeutic, but it does a connection in the brain, like the mind and the brain. There's like all these different things that you're tapping into. And then like you visualizing it and putting it up there, Indy, I promise you have to try.
Oh, it is going in. So I try very hard to be tech, right? I'm an early adopter of everything. Like I think I was one of the first people who had the Palm Pilot. I was in a beta of LinkedIn. I mean, I just aged myself significantly, by the way. But I'm going to download this and put it in my iPad because I don't use a notebook anymore. I use my iPad with a stylus. And I'm going to put this in my journal that I have that I use as my notebook and just like constantly refresh. I might actually put it on my like screen.
So I've done that before. I've screenshotted what I wanted it to look like. And every time I look at my phone for a message, I'm like, oh goodness, I need to move. Yes. I'm like, okay, I'll do like 5 squats or something. But it's a reminder.
I mean, it's so important because, we put out, so many of us, I do this. I have like intention setting on my phone, like all of a sudden, at a certain hour, I'll get an intention and like, don't forget, just something to keep us mindful and in the moment. But this incorporates it, like my sleep issue, like not that I have a sleep issue, but I prioritize sleep. Like, and this year I did something interesting where I'm flipping my clock, and instead of staying up really late, however, Clubhouse does not help that. I'm trying to go to bed earlier and wake up at like 5 a.m. So I have that quality me time before anybody else gets up in my house and the workday starts. And it has been so transformative. It's looking at yourself holistically, like this truly, even the fact that it's a wheel, like your 360 approach, but you're not saying, okay, are you eating greens? Are you doing this? No, but you are putting in your relationships because that does have that does play into
huge effect, huge. And I go into it, Indy, like there's so many layers to it, and like my clients know this, but it like, you mentioned food and like conscious eating. It's not just eating the green stuff, because you could eat the green stuff and maybe not have good energy. And so literally you're having like cells that are wandering around in your body. They're like organic cells. I want to call them like organic negative energy. And it's like you're doing
100%.
nothing for yourself, right? And it could be opposite. You might be indulging in pizzas and cookies, but your energy is up and you're of service, and that is also transforming and communicating different with your body. So there's like a combination and a deepness of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So the intention is
this is such an incredible tool. I cannot wait till my team is off today. I cannot wait to share this with them, because I really think I truly think, Elizabeth, what you have here is a game changer, because it's about being mindful.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, Indy, for sharing that. And so now we are on brag time, Indy. So it's time for you to brag about yourself. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us what you're doing. Where can we find you? How can we connect with you? And you have to give us the code for your beauty products that we love, and we will have a giveaway, guys. I will put that out in the outro, but like, tell us, brag.
So the brag about the brand is, go visit our website. It's Lee.com. It's a clean, obviously, as you learn, it's a clean skincare line. I'm really proud to say we're in every Ulta, Blue Mercury, Sephora, online, Nordstrom, Neiman's. I mean, and then the clean retails, the Credos, the Aaliyahs, the Folanes, the Detox Markets, Citrines of the world. So, and global. So very excited about that. You can find me if you want to connect with me personally. It's my Instagram is Indy Lee. No, just INDIELEE. I love communicating and DMing with people and creating this community, and people feeling like they had direct access to me. I also hang out on our brand Instagram, which is Indy_Lee. I have a community manager in there, and we talk all things like obviously skincare and mindfulness. But in terms of anything else, DM me personally. And then I have a podcast, which we started last year, but it kind of got a little sidetracked because of COVID. But it's called Coming Clean with Indy Lee. And it's really about living with purpose, passion, being fully present. It's not so much about clean beauty, etc. It's just a great play on words. So that's my humble brag. Obviously, you can tell I don't feel comfortable bragging about myself. I love lifting others up. Absolutely, we're doing a code. So Beauty Guru 15 will get you 15% off on our website. So go ahead and use that on our website, and we're going to be doing a giveaway with you. So really excited for people to get to know me, get to know the brand better. And lots of good stuff ahead.
Thank you so much for being so generous with our listeners and giving us that code. I'm also going to be using that to like gift people for Valentine's Day. Like, I think that's really a perfect time. We'll have the episode out really soon so that people can take advantage of that. And then obviously we're going to do a giveaway. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. It's a surprise. You don't want to miss it. But Indy, thank you so much for being on the show. A little bonus question. We both have kids. And sometimes I ask my guests if they could give advice to their teenage self. What would that be for the audience speaking? Because we do have all ages who listen, really.
Don't be afraid to take risks.
I love it.
You know what? It's okay to fail. The important thing is that you learn from it. And I don't really look at it as a failure if you're learning. So I would ask them to take risks. You know what? I didn't figure out who I was until my 30s, and I fell in love with myself in my 40s. And I just hope that my kids do it a little bit earlier than I did.
Yeah. I love that advice, guys, and I think that applies to not just teenagers, but I really do resonate with that as well. I think it applies to everyone today. Like, tomorrow's a new day. It's never too late. Like, I know that sounds so cheesy,
But I think Indy and I are both like believers of every day is a new day. We both have experiences where we were given a second chance to come here and really share and just live fully presently and just share our life and light and abundance with you guys. So really, I love that advice, Indy. I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you for being on. There has to be a part 2
Thank
because
you.
we could talk for hours, you and I think, until like 2 or 3 in the morning. I see you up sometimes.
I know.
She's on. I gotta like harass her. But because we just have such amazing synergy, I think our messages are really aligned. So guys, you heard it here. Please go give her a follow. Check out the beauty brand. Go on her podcast. Just like really follow her because she is coming out with some really good stuff. I cannot wait for the book, even though it's just, we just put it out in the universe.
Just putting it out to universe.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Right,
putting it out
like,
there.
I can't wait to read it. I hope it's a tell-all.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, so I can't wait to dive into that. But yeah, thank you so much for being on, Indy. I really, really appreciate you.
Oh my God. Did you guys get the chills or what? Hearing Indy's story is another example of how everyone here has a mission, has a purpose, and everyone here can do it. You can do it. So like if there's one message to take away from today's podcast besides the beauty circle and living a holistic life and just having amazing skin is that everyone here who's listening has an opportunity to also succeed and be great at that. Like just listening to Indy's story is testament to that. And as promised, she gave us a code because she was so generous. It is Beauty Guru 15 that expires April 1st, which is April Fool's. And obviously there's a giveaway, duh. Indy wanted to share 9 full-size products. Yes, you're gonna get the entire collection, Face for All in Radiance collection. So if you are interested in that, what you have to do is super, super simple. Subscribe to the podcast, write a review, screenshot it, send it to me, DM me that at Elizabeth__Molina, and you will be the first one to win the 9 products, by the way, full size. Yes, I said that, full size. All right, my beautiful people, thank you so much, and best of luck to the winners.